Aaron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Aaron.
Welcome back, everybody. Aaron is present. Let's do a little bit more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Guys, Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster. Hulkster, done messed up this time by getting engaged to a Scientologist by the name of Sky Daily, or Sky Burness, I should say. I do not know why she still uses her third ex-husband's name. Her ex-husband, JT, they hate each other. They have not been married in a long, long time. If I had to guess why she still uses his name, it's because using Sky Burness would be problematic, because Sky's father, Scientologist, OT8 Scientologist in good standing and predator of children, Kirk Burness, is someone that I have discussed on my channel. But we'll cross that bridge again in just a minute. Let's jump over to the headline. This is from the Tampa Bay Times. Life and Culture. Wrestler Hulk Hogan proposes to girlfriend at St. Petersburg wedding. He popped the question at the St. Pete wedding reception of his fiance's best friend. Guys, isn't that a party foul, getting engaged at your friend's wedding? I thought that was considered something you should not do. But what do I know, guys? I grew up in a cult. Let me know in that live chat. Is that something you are not supposed to do? Pull attention off of your friend's big day by getting engaged at their wedding, or am I mistaken about that? Either way, not an important issue. Hulk Hogan, one of the Tampa Bay area's most famous residents, announced his engagement this week, and it took place at the St. Petersburg wedding of his fiance's best friend. The pro wrestling icon announced on social media that he got engaged last weekend, with Hogan popping the question at the Canopy rooftop on top of the Birchwood Hotel in downtown St. Pete. It was the wedding of actor Corinne Nemec. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. Best known for Parker Lewis Can't Lose and Stargate, and local Sabrina Nova, whom he met when doing a film there. I don't know why they call her Sabrina Nova when that is not her real name. Anyway, I guess that's just the name she uses on Instagram. I know Sabrina, and her name is not Sabrina Nova. But okay, whom he met when doing a film here and ended up moving here. Sky Daily, 45, yoga instructor, and Hogan started dating earlier last year, shortly after his divorce from second wife Jennifer McDaniel. He and McDaniel married in 2010 after Hogan split from his first wife, Linda Hogan. In a video that Daily posted to Instagram, Hogan, a Tampa native born Terry Balea, was giving a speech at a wedding reception at the Birchwood for Daly's friends and recounted how he and Daly met. All right. I mean, just a short little announcement. I mean, how big could it be? They got engaged. Okay. So I have done a number of videos on the subject of Hulk Hogan and his relationship with Scientologist Sky Daily and Sky's OT8 parents. And even in my earlier videos, I've been contacted privately by many of Sky's friends going, hey, just so you know, Sky's not really a Scientologist. You know, she hasn't been involved in a very, very long time, and she didn't raise her kids as Scientologists. I concede that that is all very likely to be true. But, you know, the line of what it means, the line of like, on this side, you're a Scientologist, on that side, you're not a Scientologist, is a very hard line to draw. And that's why it's very important for, I think, us to discuss on this channel and for people in general to understand that unless you're a declared suppressive person, and as long as you have family members, particularly parents, who are on lines, in good standing, and at the mercy of the ethics officer, you are in Scientology, whether you believe in Scientology or not. I speak from personal experience, you guys. My route out of Scientology started in 2009. When the Tampa Bay Times published a series of articles called The Truth Rundown that exposed me to information for the first time, that a lot of these high-level celebrity executives in Scientology had not only left the Sea organization, but had left Scientology altogether and were now spilling the tea about the abusive, torturous nature of life at the Scientology's international base, working under David Miscavige out in Gilman Hot Springs, California. That was the beginning of my route out. Now, by 2010, you could have said that by any normal definition of the word, I was not a Scientologist, except I was still in good standing. I was in trouble, but I was in good standing. My mom was still in Scientology. My little brother was still in Scientology. My wife was in Scientology. My wife's entire family was in Scientology. My wife's brother's spouses were all in Scientology. My wife's sister's spouses, all of the in-laws' parents were all in Scientology. And for this reason, I was still subject to the whims and the demands of Scientology's ethics officers. I'll give an even better example. My wife's brother, by any definition of the word, has not been a Scientologist for over 30 years. But he's still connected to family members who are Scientologists. His wife's family are all Scientologists. And for that reason, even though my wife's brother hates Scientology, and everybody knows it, his family knows it, it's not a secret, okay? When my wife and I were officially kicked out of Scientology in 2014, my wife's parents were able to go to my wife's brother and say, you have to sign this paper that the ethics officer gave to us for you to sign. You have to sign this paper promising that you will never see or speak to Heather and Aaron, or we have to disconnect from you. And so he chose to do so. A guy who's not a Scientologist, hates Scientology, still being controlled by Scientology. That is the position that Sky Daily is in. Okay. Now, I have knowledge from insider sources at the Flagland base in Clearwater, Florida, that shortly after the Hulkster, Terry Bollea, I prefer to call him Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster. I'm a fan, brother. Shortly after the Hulkster and Sky started dating a year and a half ago or whatever it was, the Hulkster took a trip to Clearwater's Flagland base, the Flag Service Organization, what they call Flag. Now, you tell me why Hulk Hogan is visiting the Church of Scientology in Clearwater, Florida, if Sky Daily isn't a Scientologist. And I realize I'm almost using a loaded word, right? You're saying she is a Scientologist. What do you mean? She's under their control. Anyone who has any experience with Scientology will tell you that Scientology doesn't consider you're no longer a Scientologist just because you haven't come on course in a bunch of years. I mean, you guys know how hard it is to get off Scientology's mailing list. Scientology considers that if you have bought a book, read a book, taken a personality test. Now realize Sky Daily isn't just someone who used to be a Scientologist and now says that she isn't. Sky Daily was a member of Scientology's Sea Organization at the Flagland base. She was a Sea Org member. And she lives in Clearwater. Now, you guys, most of you may know, if you're an ex-Sea Org member, you're not allowed to live in Clearwater, Florida, until Scientology says, you're good. You've made up the damage for leaving the Sea Org. We trust you now. We trust you. We consider you one of us. We will allow you to live in Clearwater. I know that from firsthand experience. When I left the Sea Org, my wife and I came right to Clearwater because this is where her family was. And we were called into the Flagland base and we were sat down by the chief staff ethics officer and said, you guys can't live here. You don't have approval to live here. And we had to jump through hoops to be allowed to live here. So not only is Sky an ex-Sea Org member, not only is she not declared, but she starts going out with the Hulkster, and the Hulkster makes a trip to the Flagland base. For whose benefit was Hulk Hogan visiting the Flagland base? We could say, well, it's because his girlfriend Sky wanted him to because she's a Scientologist. Or we could be a little more charitable and say the Hulkster was just being maybe a polite gesture to Sky's parents, who are definitely still true believing Scientologists. And even if we said that it was only as a favor to her parents, that brings us right back to the definitions of words that we're talking about. I'm sorry. If you are under the domain and the control of Scientology, Scientologists, and their ethics officers, you are a Scientologist. We can be cute about it, but you're a Scientologist. And it does get a little worse, because, one of the ways I've been using my platform is to expose crimes committed by Scientologists against underage kids that, due to Scientology's own policies, have never been exposed to the world. And one of those criminals, one of those predators of children who have abused children in the most serious of ways is Sky Burness Daly's father, Kirk Burness. And I've done videos about it on this channel. And, when I did a video dedicated to exposing Kirk Burness's crimes against children, Sky Daly called me and she said, "Hey, look, I really appreciate your channel. I love what you do. I love the effort to expose Scientology's crimes, but you should know that those crimes against children that you discussed, those were done by someone else. Those were not done by my father, Kirk." And I spoke to her about it at length. And even though I didn't necessarily believe her, I said, out of an abundance of caution and just sort of as a gesture for you, being kind enough to call me and have a conversation about it, I will take the video down. Okay, so I marked the video private for a while until I received some phone calls from some Sea Org members, former Sea Org members, who Sky Daly was in the Sea Org with. And they confirmed for me that Sky was lying to me. They said, no. This is not a maybe situation. First of all, when Sky was in the Sea Org, she was the one who was personally responsible for informing other Sea Org members about the crimes against children her father, Kirk, had committed. Okay, so Sky was never confused either. Sky is actually one of the original sources of this information and how Scientology became aware of it. Okay. Also, Sky didn't call me and say, "Hey, this is a violation of privacy. Hey, do it for me." She said, "It's actually not true. My father actually didn't do it." Like, that was her complaint. It wasn't about anything else. It was someone else. And I said, "Well, who else was it? I'm not just going to let someone off the hook for no reason." And she goes, "It was a non-Scientologist." So anyway, these other former Sea Org members who have personal knowledge and have personally seen the reports in the ethics files and the auditing files said, no. Kirk did this beyond any shadow of a doubt. Kirk's wife is one of the people who reported him. Sky is one of the people who reported him. And for Sky to be trying to run interference and protect her father, who's still a Scientologist, who got away with all these crimes, was never reported to the authorities, also shows that she's still being a Scientologist. Because if she was out of Scientology for real, she would not be covering up crimes that are committed against Scientology children. So, I know the Hulkster went on Theo Von's podcast this week, and he talked a lot about his religion and Christianity and going to church every week with Sky and her kids. I believe every word of that. I actually believe that Sky would, rather she did not have Scientology in her history. I bet she wishes she could erase that entire part of her past. But, Sky, Scientology considers you a member in good standing for a reason. And that reason is now that you're going to be Mrs. Hulk Hogan. And you could actually use your bully pulpit and your platform, knowing that if Scientology went to war with you and the Hulkster, that would be a very bad day for Scientology. And you could not just be someone who's like going to, look, I don't mean to dictate to other people how they should deal with situations in their past, but I'm saying, this platform has been pretty clear about how I'm going to go about exposing Scientology's crimes against children and the elderly. And it's one thing if you don't want to participate. That's your call. It's another thing to lie to me, to trick me into cooperating with covering up for a Scientologist in good standing and predator of children, Kirk Burness. So also, if I'm the Hulkster, Thanksgiving dinner's going to be pretty awkward. I mean, if you knew that your your father-in-law is a child predator, and he's just going to be welcomed with open arms. I mean, it could get a little awkward, totally aside from the conversation aspect. Hulkster could be up there at the end of the table trying to carve the turkey on Thanksgiving evening. Kirk's going to be all confused. He's going to be behind the Hulkster trying to molest the turkey because the guy's a disgusting child predator. And I've been trying to give this enough thought because obviously, you know, I do have a bias. You know, I approach this whole thing with a bias. You know, look, I'm here to embarrass David Miscavige and expose Scientology every little tiniest opportunity that I get. That is a bias of mine. I feel like it's an okay bias, but let's acknowledge it's a bias. So I'm like, okay, am I just nitpicking? Like, what would I do if I was in Hulk Hogan's shoes and I met this girl and we were really in love and her parents are Scientologists. She's still in good standing. What does this mean for me? If I was Hulk Hogan, I would recognize that Scientology is going to use every resource at its disposal to spy on Hulk Hogan, get information about what he loves, what he hates, how can they use that information to manipulate him into joining Scientology. Whether Sky Burness is an active, willing participant or whether she cooperates against her will, whether Hulk Hogan is aware that Scientology can really be that manipulative in your life or not, you have to understand that is Scientology's goal. If I were Hulk Hogan, I wouldn't want this dangerous human trafficking cult and its manipulative little arms anywhere near anything to do with my life. But I'm not Hulk Hogan. I'm just Aaron. And if I was Hulk Hogan, or honestly, if I was anyone and I was in love with someone, I was getting married and I found out that her parent was a child predator, would I let that impact the relationship itself? And guys, armchair quarterback in this thing and hindsight being what it is, I don't know. I feel like the answer is yes. I would let that impact the relationship itself. It'd be one thing if the woman in question was estranged from her folks. And this is just something horrible that happened in the past and whatever. But to know that the predators, the abuser is still a part of the family, that this has all been swept under the rug. And Scientology probably claims it's been fixed now. Well, that's not going to work for me, brother. So I'm trying not to be a total hypocrite here and just be like, I'm walking the high road and I can tell someone else how to live their life. I've sort of been asking myself the last few days as I've been planning to do this video, whether that's what I'm doing or not. Am I just picking on Sky because she's a Scientologist? Am I just picking on her parents because they're Scientologists? I really don't think that that's what I'm doing. If you feel otherwise, though, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm open, happy to hear if people think I'm just blinded by my own blinders on this, And maybe Hulk just doesn't believe what I'm saying. And that's possible too. I mean, why would he? We've never met. He doesn't know me. I know he doesn't like me. He's tried to get a couple of my videos taken down. But it's just a damn shame. It's just a damn shame. Sky is actually in quite a position of power right now with respect to Scientology. They really can't mess with her. They really can't. They really couldn't mess with her parents all that much at this point either. Like if Sky came out and talked some smack about Scientology publicly and Scientology made her parents disconnect, oh my God, that would be some of the worst possible PR Scientology could hope for. Having Hulk Hogan now on the warpath, exposing how Scientology destroys families. And that's actually what I would love to see. And again, I'm not trying to preach how other people should live their lives. I mean, it's like, but I guess I at least have the right to criticize. Those who are in a position where Scientology can't really F with them, I wish more people would use that position and lean into it. Sky, I know you hate Scientology. I know you hate the fact that crimes against children are covered up in Scientology. You are actually in a very powerful position to be able to help do something about that. And I just honestly wish that you would. I don't want to consider you an enemy or Hulk an enemy. You're not my enemies. And I know I'm not your enemy. But it's just, look, I live here in Clearwater. This is news that's unfolding in Clearwater. Kirk Burness is someone who lives in Clearwater. Hulk Hogan lives in Clearwater. And I'm just telling you this arrangement, how this is all going down, Scientology is going to use it to their benefit when Sky and the Hulkster could be using it to really do the right thing. Yeah, I guess I'm being preachy, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, let's see. SPTV Tattoo Warrior. If it is alleys like a duck, what is this, the typo? Hold on. If it is alleys like a duck, and no such bad form to steal your best friend's wedding sparkle with your own proposal. Osa would do that. SPTV Tattoo Warrior, thank you for the super chat. I'm not sure I understand the first part. If it is alleys like a duck, I'm not sure if that's a here we go. Dang it. Siri is drunk again. That was supposed to say, if it walks like a duck. The teachers are attacking my super chats. Seeker 0628 says, I'm totally okay with your bias. Well, thank you. I mean, I guess as long as one acknowledges their own bias, that's at least a feather in your cap, right? Okay, guys, that's all I'm going to do on this right now. So much more to come today. I don't even know if I have enough time to fit in everything I want to do today to discuss on videos, but I'm going to try. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.